Okay, so I'm getting a late start today. It's actually 9:33 already, and we can see that on the 4-hour chart it is bounced off of the 50 SMA. And it looks like it's heading up. So let's zoom in to the 1-minute chart and set up our volume profile thing here. And then the previous day's value area high has dropped, so it kind of narrowed the place that it fluctuated into. Kind of stayed within that band that I was talking about yesterday. All right, now if we go out to the 1-hour chart, 180 SMA went up, so we definitely have support right through here. And the 4-hour, let's go back and look at that. 4-hour, we have this going up a little tiny bit, and this one is up. So we have a huge band, a lot of support area right through there. This one here actually might be a bit of a resistance level. I'm going to raise it up to the very peaks of these 2 points right here. Just because that it's getting close and it's heading that direction, it might actually be acting as kind of a resistance level at that point. All right, so let's look at the 15-minute chart. And all right, we definitely want to be in a long 315, so it could go up another 15 points or so. So we want to make sure that we get into a good place. So it's probably going to drop down to here and then head up again. That's my guess, because there is a ton of support right through here. It is possible it could drop down to this point too. I kind of doubt it, as uptrending as that is. Doubt that's really going to happen. So, all right, and then on the 1-minute chart here, you can look at the volume. Oh, that's really interesting. What a weird volume chart here. Look at all these flat areas. To me, those look like really big amounts. The smart money, whatever you want to call them, the whales. I think that's what I'm looking at here. I think those are the places where you have a lot of orders from the same people, because they're exactly the same dollar amount. And you can see that this big batch right here is just above that SMA. So that is kind of interesting to me. If we draw a rectangle in that spot, my guess is that's kind of the place that we want to get into a long at that point. So we will wait and be patient. It just kind of went flat there, and it's continuing up. And it's not going to go up very much farther before it hits that spot. So I think I'll go ahead and get into a trade here. We can have one more little push up, and then it will drop down to this point. And you can see that band that I drew in here, the SMA is now at the top part of it. So that's kind of interesting too. There we go. All right. Excellent. So now I really need to just be patient and wait for another opportunity for a drop. So here's a brief snapshot at 10:18, so quite a bit later. It is kind of very slowly dropped down, and now we're sitting at the 50 SMA. That band I have not changed the location of. You can still see it's still there. And the 180-day is rising to meet it. So I still think, though this might be support, I still think it's going to drop down to this point, at which point I think the 180-day SMA will be coming up to it, and then that would be the ideal opportunity to get into a long. And we also want to wait for the MACD to look correct as well. So that's what's going on. So still wants to seem to drop here. The other possibility is that it would come down to this point down here, and we've got a tremendous amount of support right through that area. So there's an 8-point gap here. Yeah, we got the 4-hour chart, 1-hour chart. Yeah, so it's possible it could come all the way down to this point, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait for it to make a turn here. All right, that looks like it might be thinking about turning. Let's see if that continues. And even if we get it up to this point here, that's a $700 trade. That's huge. So even if I catch it, you know, up into this area up here, I'm happy with that. Waiting for that MACD to look better. Yeah, that is kind of interesting. There definitely seems to be more selling going on down here than buying. So that would explain why it's dropping even further. All right, I think I'll go ahead and get in here. And then my sell stop, I'm going to go ahead and bring on up to there. Let's see where that's at. Okay, yeah. So that would be 100, about $200 stop there. I can even bring it down a little bit further. All right, and then the exit order here. I'll bring just below that. I think go and erase that up there a little bit, just in case. I don't want to wipe out everything in case it does drop further. Looks like I'm going to get stopped out. That's unfortunate, because I do think it's going to go up. I don't know how far down it's going to go before it goes up, and it could be a ways. It could be getting down to this point, and there's no way I'd want to write it down to that point, obviously, unless it decides to turn soon. And it's thinking about it. It hasn't completely given up on that idea yet. There's just so many sell orders right through here. All right, I'm out. Okay, let's go back out to the 5-minute chart, and we're just going to try to look at this again. I think it's imminent. It's just hasn't quite set itself up quite yet. Let's look at the 15-minute chart too. Okay, that's interesting. So we just crossed but this is definitely a support area right through here. Okay, so I do think there may be some bouncing. You can definitely see right through here there's more selling than buying, but then right through here there's more buying than selling. So yeah, and definitely down here you got more buying than selling. So if it does drop down to here, that's going to be a pretty sure place to get in. So we'll just have to wait, unfortunately, a little bit longer. Okay, that's interesting that this has crossed now. Kind of tempting to go short. All the buyers disappeared. That's kind of interesting. There used to be some green candles there, or some green volume lines there. Man, it is tempting. I wonder if I should do a short. Yeah, you know what? I think selling might be the way to go here. Let's see. Because you can see there's like no buyers until you get down to this point here, It's another 6-point drop. Yeah, it's that 5-minute chart that just gives me pause. So if I put that in there and say take profit right through here, it's like a $200 trade. What would that look like on this chart here? Previous day's value area high. That's going to act as support. Okay, maybe not. All right. So if it does get down to this point, all right, I'm just about to get filled into a short. All right, let's see how this goes. Maybe raise this up just a little bit. Let's look out at the 5-minute chart here. See what the volume is looking like. Yeah, sellers are stronger, except for right through here. All right, so let's maybe raise this up a smidge, because I don't know. I don't know that it's going to drop below that. Oops. Stopped out. Okay, not terribly surprised. Are we heading up now? I would be very surprised. Look at how many buyers versus sellers there are right through here. Hardly any. Oh, shoot. Forgot to take off the instant order placement. And get out 290 right up here. Let's see how that goes. Maybe I should get out and reset that order. Okay. You know, I almost wonder if getting into a short right in here is a better idea, actually. I've lost $160 for today, so even if I stop right now, that's not a bad thing. I'm happy with that. Obviously, I'd like to make some money, but I'll make sure that I don't do anything stupid. Okay, got into a position here, and I'm going to lower this down to this point. Maybe even further, actually. I'm going to put it down to here, because you can see the sell orders increase greatly right at this point. And that's a good trade. The only thing is the MACD is a little tenuous right through here. It looks like it's going down, actually. I thought it was crossing, going up. I'm hoping that this is the support level right through here. That's what I'm looking at. So we'll raise this up a little bit more, tighten that stop up. That's pretty tight there. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Well, maybe I should have weighed in that MACD a little bit more. So where that SMA is up here, if it jumps up to that point, I think getting into a short. Let's just watch it for a little bit. "15-minute chart's looking more and more like a bounce too. If I did place a sell order here, it'd be like $200. Is it worth it or not? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of cells right through here. If it breaks above those cells and gets into this area here, we're going to see a lot of selling. Selling, selling, selling. But that's way up there. Good grief. That's like 12 points up there. Well, I'm tempted to get into a short here, so surely some other people are as well. Oop, stopped out. Very, very tiny profit. All right. Shorts it is. And there are a ton of buyers right here. So let's bring it up to that point. That's a really good trade still. Stop is a little high. Let's go ahead and lower this down so we don't lose anything. Oh, is that too close? Stopped out. No loss, no gain. All right, so let's wait till it gets down to this point and possibly get into a long at that point. So that would have been fine. Whoa, that's a big drop. My goodness. Wow, that's kind of scary. Okay. It's really, really close. Still not quite seeing a turn on here. Hopefully I didn't jump the gun. But yeah, it's going up. I think I'll be fine. All right, so I'm gonna put my stop order here. Not too close because I really think it's going up. Okay, it's kind of interesting if you look at the 15-minute chart here. I have another chart that I'm looking at, and the SMAs that are there are showing that it hit resistance level. Let me see if I can throw them in here. If I look at indicators and add, I don't know if I can or not. No, I can't without upgrading. Anyway, the SMAs are what this hit and as acting as resistance level. So that gold SMA is the resistance level that it just hit and then dropped down. So it's going to test that again probably. Lock in a little bit of profit. Okay. Okay, so I'm still at the point of I've lost $160 from yesterday, which is not bad at all. been trading for 3 hours, no, 2.5 hours. I'm not sure. I'll watch it a couple more minutes. You know what? I kind of think it's dropping. Now that I've gotten into this trade, I think I want to get out. Yeah. All right. Okay, we're going to ride this down. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I think it's probably going to be dropping now. So if I modify this order down to here, to this point, it's possible that it will peter out and that I would get out here. That would actually put me in the green about $100 for the day. $360 loss. I'd pretty much wipe out all the profit from the last 2 days. So we reached a new high here, and we've been testing that support level. We raised up and hit this point twice now and have dropped down. So testing that support level at the blue SMA right there, I think is definitely within the realm of possibility. Still does not preclude the fact that it could be going up, but I think it's very likely that it would drop down. It may take a while, that's the thing. That will tell the tale of how far down it goes. If it goes to here, or all the way down to here. So I am running out of time. I need to get going. Feeling a little antsy here, trying to figure out what is the best course of action at this point. Still think it's probably going to drop. Questioning how much it's going to drop, though. So I raised up my order just now to this area instead of that one. And then trying to figure out how much risk I should put on the table. Not real comfortable with the stop area right up here. Okay, the 15-minute chart looks like it's tipping over and going up. 5-minute chart is heading up. However, I think this point right here, I'll go ahead and place an alert at that point, because that's where the SMA is on the 5-minute chart. I do think that would be a resistance area. And that's real close to where we are right now. If it does drop down with this new location, we stand to, I think it's pretty much break even, but let me check. So that would be $362 trade right there. That added on to the $454 that I had before I placed this trade. That would definitely put me in the green, actually. So I'd be happy with that. However, if it goes up and hits the stop, I'm in pretty bad shape. That's $550 loss minus the $454.96. So I will be $5 less than when I began 2 days ago. Okay, we had a big wick that just dropped below real quick to 83. And it's looking kind of bearish right now, except that we are sitting at a support level. Okay, my alert just got triggered and it just reached a high that surpassed this peak over here. A little bit concerning through there, but there are a lot of sell orders right through here, so I'm hoping that it will continue to drop. At this point, my hopes are dwindling that it's going to drop that far. So if I raise this up to here, at least we will be not losing any money. Let's hope that it drops down to that point. So heavy sell areas right through here as well. So I suspect that it will continue to drop, or it will start dropping, I should say, through that point. I don't think it's probably going to rise too much further. All right, I'm out. and pretty much wiped out the profit that I made the last couple days, which is very unfortunate because that was a really spectacular last couple days. So, oof. Well, I have to revisit this another day.